Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us today. I am Muhammad Rian Aji Saputro as the master of ceremony of this event will guide you. But before we starting our event, let me explain the schedule of this event. The first section is speech from Dr. Arthur Coren as President and Vice Chancellor of University Canada West. The second is speech explanation from our special guest, Professor David Blanket. And the third section is question and answer section. And the last section is closing. All blessed audience, the first section is opening speech from Dr. Arthur Coren as President and Vice Chancellor of University of Canada West. Dr. Arthur, please.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to University Canada West. It is our absolute pleasure to welcome you here this morning. I'd like to start by welcoming our special guest, Professor the Right Honourable Blunkett, and his lovely wife, Margaret. We have many special community and business guests here today, members of our Board of Governors and Advisory Boards, and our alumni and current students. So thank you all very much for coming today. Later this year, University Canada West will celebrate its 12th anniversary. But it's really been in the past 18 months since we joined the Global University Systems Network that UCW has experienced what Brad termed as a true renaissance. We've managed to attract many outstanding faculty and staff. Our student enrollments are growing. We've received an unconditional 5-year renewal from the ministry for all programs in the university. And this very historic facility is in the midst of a complete and comprehensive refurbishment. There have been many dramatic improvements, and as part of this new UCW, if you will, we are very pleased to present this morning's talk, one of many that we plan to have here at the university.
The next section is the man of this event, which is we are waiting for, the explanation from our special guest, David Blanket. He is a chair of the University of Law in Britain and a professor of politics and practice. So I'm very pleased to give you Professor David on why North America should care about British exit or Brexit. Professor David, please.
Well, good morning, and thank you very much indeed for a warm welcome to UCW and my appreciation to all of you for being here this morning, and in particular thank you to the board members of UCW and to Arthur and Brad and colleagues. Thank you for the hospitality that has been shown to me once again here in Vancouver. It's great to be back in Canada, and I've always appreciated very much the friendship and the warmth that exists between Canada and the United Kingdom. As Arthur's just said, I now chair the University of Law, which is a sister organisation, institution to UCW, and we wish you well at the University of Canada West, and we will later this morning be signing a memorandum of understanding in relation to sharing the task of educating future generations, of sharing staff and research facilities. And the University of Law, which was the College of Law, has a history going back over 150 years. It has some famous alumni, one of whom at the moment is the new Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, as well as people like Sherry Blair, Tony Blair's wife. So it's great to be here and to be able to open up the issue of what is happening in the UK and Europe and the implications that has for the wider world, including our relationships with North America. I want to concentrate to begin with, incidentally. What I want to say is that there's a challenge that the British people have in the next week, which is a very considerable one. It's to understand Britain's place in the world, to understand the relationship between the nation state and globalization, and to appreciate that what one nation now does, the actions they take, the positioning that they undertake actually does have a major knock-on in terms of what happens to other people in other countries, as well as to your home population. We have to establish that we do not operate as individual nations any longer, that we are part of that wider global sphere, that we are interlinked together irrevocably, whether we like it or not, and therefore we need to operate on that basis, sharing, thinking, working out solutions together. And those who are developing the anti-politics, the view that you can wave a magic wand and suddenly the world will change for the better, or we can reverse change so that we go back 50, 60, even longer years, are not only deluding themselves, but dangerously deluding and misleading their peoples, is because of all the things I've said this morning in relation to the knock-on impact that that would have across the globe, never mind the friendship, the coming together, the sharing of our history between the UK and Canada. To coin a phrase from the Chancellor of the Exchequer in Britain, George Osborne, we're all in this together. We didn't actually believe that he was all in this together, by the way, when he was implementing austerity measures, which he went through many years ago. But in this global world and in this confused and difficult and challenging situation, we are literally all in this together. And it's why it's crucial that on the 23rd of June, the people of the United Kingdom vote to stay within the European Union, to play a positive part within that union and globally, and to re-establish Britain as a force for good and a force for positive change, working with our friends and your friends across the world. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me.
Thank you for Professor David. From Professor David, we can know that there is a challenge that the British people have, which is a very considerable one, is to understand Britain's place in the world. The next section is question and answer. So if you have a question, please raise your hands, mention your name, and then the question.
Hi, my name is Patrick. I work in the Registrar's office here. So I just have one question. In event of Brexit, if the Scottish National Party decide to hold a second referendum if that is successful, what do you think the effect that could be on Northern Ireland, given the quite strong relationship between Northern Loyalists and the Scottish people?
Well, there's been quite a controversy, as you would appreciate, about whether Scotland, the Scottish National Party, who are the lead in the Scottish Parliament, would attempt to have a second referendum of their own. And the UK-wide government have been saying they wouldn't countenance it. Very difficult to stop Scotland pressing for a second referendum if the UK came out of the European Union, given the stance that the Scottish National Party, in fact all the main parties in Scotland, have taken in relation to Scotland's place in the European Union. As far as Northern Ireland's concerned, there's been some very interesting debate. The two former Prime Ministers, Tony Blair and John Major, have sought to raise this issue of the relationship of Northern Ireland with Scotland, Northern Ireland with England and the historic union, and of course Northern Ireland and its relationship within Ireland to the Republic of Ireland, who would remain part of the European Union, and we would have a land border between a non-European Union nation, i.e. Northern Ireland as part of the UK, and the Republic of Ireland. Really confused situation, both in terms of people movements as well as trade and economics. And I fear that were we to come out, that would start to impact and unravel the very, very difficult historic relationships that have been built up, and the delicate peace process that's been established over the last 20 years is not insignificant. As John Major himself used to say all the time, he used that phrase, he used to double negatives.
My name is Catherine Vertesi. I'm also on the Board of Governors. So I've spent a lot of my life traveling because I've done so much international education over the years. And it always strikes me that Britain is, when I am in the UK, it's the only place where I see real welcoming of people who are not white into the mainstream of life. I travel in France, I travel in Switzerland, I travel in Germany, I travel in Scandinavia, I travel in southern countries. It's when I turn on the BBC, I see people from all different backgrounds who are the news readers. When I walk down the street, I see people in business suits who come from all different, obviously come from all different kinds of backgrounds. So one of my biggest concerns about Britain withdrawing from the UK, from the EU, is it's like almost the only model of the good side of integration. And although on the one hand, we have some xenophobia going on, I think there needs to be a celebration of the integration that has happened over years and years and years of people from across the Commonwealth joining UK citizenship. Who do you see taking on that kind of lead and that kind of human rights lead within the EU without Britain there, who constantly brings those issues up?
Well, thank you for saying that. We do, Catherine, have our problems, and I think London is probably different to other parts of England. Scotland's traditionally been very welcoming of difference and still is. London is a metropolitan global city and is reflected now in the election of a mayor in May of this year of Muslim background. We couldn't have believed that 20 years ago, and that is, I think, both a positive symbol, but it was also a positive outcome of a quite messy mayoral election where things were said that shouldn't have been said. But the people of London chose to vote for Sadiq Khan. Now, that's a positive. What's strange is that the previous mayor of London, Boris Johnson, who I mean, people think of him as a kind of character, which is fine if you just want to play the buffoon, but it isn't if you're wanting to be the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and changed his mind from seeing London as a welcoming, multi-ethnic, diverse community and rejoicing in it, to someone who's now saying that we need to close the borders and that the UK would be better out and that this is not a good thing after all. And I think that we're schizophrenic in the UK. I think that that demonstrates a kind of conflict in people's heads between celebrating, rejoicing in that multi-ethnic, diverse background, which historically has been the United Kingdom.
The last section is closing. In addition, being the UK's longest established specialized provider of legal education, the global university system of UNIT really presents an opportunity for collaborate on any aspect. So, this is for today. Thank you for attending and have a good day. Thank you.